Hi Flosstube, my name is Laura and welcome to my channel, Loves Rubberstamps Needle Crafts. This is my Flosstube video number 11 and it is Friday, May 1st. So happy Stitch Mania if you are participating this year. I plan on starting my first new start for Mania as soon as I get done filming this video. I just got off of work and I wanted to pop on here quick and do my end of April update and show you the progress on all of my whips that I've had since my last video. That way I can start with a clean slate for Stitch Mania projects. Today's video shouldn't be too long. I have 5 whips that I've worked on, or I'm sorry, 6 whips that I've worked on since my last video. And I have just a tiny bit of haul, so shouldn't take too long at all. So we'll go ahead and get started. The first project that I worked on since my last video was my 12 Days of Christmas by Joan Elliott. It's a big picture. This was a new start for me with my last video. It's in the World of Cross Stitching magazine, issue 118. And I didn't have very much longer to work on that one for my rotation, so I've done just a smidge more. But the only thing I've done since I showed it to you last time was something white behind it so you can see because of the window. There we go. The only thing I did was add a little bit of gold to the border. I wanted to try, I'm using this stuff that I had in my stash. It's called Nordic Gold. Very fine, easy to use blending filament, I believe. But I had this in my stash and it was a pretty color gold and I wanted to try it. It's kind of a pain in the butt. It looks nice once you get it in, but you have to use really short lengths, just like Kreinik. And sometimes this stuff, it almost unravels and then it gets really thin. It's like some of the, I think it's got multiple strands and it seems like if a strand breaks, it's a little bit stretchy. And if it breaks, then it just separates from the whole strand and then it gets all fluffy and nasty. So I'm probably going to regret using that, but I don't really want to rip out what I have done either. So I'm just going to try really short lengths and hopefully that will help. I'm stitching this one on 28 count white opal Lugana. The next whip that I worked on was my Jesus from Vervaco. And if I can, I'll insert a picture here of what it looked like the last time you've seen it. And here's where I'm at now. Oops. Help if I turned it the right way, huh? So I just continued on with his face and got some more shading in on his nose and his cheek area. And this is being stitched on the kit Ada. It's a 14 count. I believe it's ivory. Or it might be cream. I don't see where it specifies. Okay, the next project I worked on was my Red Birds by Barber. That's what it'll look like when it's finished. I've mentioned this before, but I'm stitching this in honor of my grandma and grandpa who passed away. So I call them Grandma Cardinal and Grandpa Cardinal. This is in the Just Cross Stitch magazine. It's issue November, December of 2011. And if I can, I'll insert a picture here of where I was last time. And here's where I am now. I'm trying to put something behind it. Sorry, this window. So since last time, I pretty much worked on Grandma Cardinal and got her finished up. And then I did the little leaf that she's standing on, and I started on those little flowers that are behind her. I'm stitching this one on 28 count lamb's wool Jobelin. And I'm probably about just a little over half done. I still have quite a bit to go on this page. There's a really big flower and some more flowers over here. And then I have the whole side of where Grandpa Cardinal is. But I'm going to make this whip my focus whip for my rotation. So every third rotation, I will pull this out and work on it for about 12 hours until it's finished, because I really want to get this one done. I'm really hoping that once it's finished, I would like to have it framed by Jill Rensel, since it's a special piece. So that will be exciting, because it will be my first piece that I would have framed by her if I get to do that. The next piece that I'll show you is my work Heaven and Earth that I've been working on. This is Beck Winnell's New Girl 3 by Heaven and Earth Designs. This is the one that I work on while I'm at work in my downtime. And if I can, I'll insert a picture here of where I was last time. And here's where I'm at currently. So I just continued working on page 12. I probably have maybe 1,200 or 1,200 to 1,500 stitches left on that page, and then it will be finished. And then I'll have to move my Q-snap. In fact, I'm probably going to move my Q-snap later today and put it on a new size that I want to try. And then my next project, I just pulled this out the other day. It was in my rotation. I drew my next project, and I drew the Eat My Dust by Candamar Designs. This is also one of my whips that I started for a previous Stitch Mania, so I'll have to have some more progress on this during Stitch Mania too, but I pulled this for my random whip draw for my rotation. So for that, I have to work on it for about 12 hours. And so far I've worked on it for about 4. So after Stitch Mania, before I do my next switch projects for my rotation, when I get back to that, I'll work on this for about another 8 hours. Math is hard when you've been up all night. I took this off the scroll rod so you could kind of see it a little better, because what I did was, let's see if I can, get something white behind it here. So what I wanted to do is, when you saw it last time, I just had this part and his little nose. So what I wanted to do is I wanted to work up and over to the top left corner and then work it down. So that's what I did. I just picked a couple of colors in him to work up so I could work my way across the top. Kind of hard to do this. Probably shouldn't sit here during the day with that bright window behind me. And I'm just stitching this on the 16 count ivory Ada that came in the kit. So I have reached the very top left corner. When I was looking over this kit, this is going to be a lot of work, because this is all, it's not like a dimensions kit where a lot of your background is half crosses with different numbers of strands of floss. This one is solid full coverage, and it's all solid full cross stitch. So now that I'm up in this corner, this main line here is very confetti heavy, and when you get out to these, the edges and stuff, there's a lot more color blocks. And I just think that this chart, I'm going to have to probably do parking in the lion. That's why I wanted to get out to that corner, because when you look at the chart, it would be a lot easier to stitch it working from the top going down when you have to park and stuff. So that's where I am on that one. But yeah, I was surprised that none of that background is half crosses. It's all completely full cross. So that's crazy. And it even has blended threads. So that very color in the upper top left is it's a blend of flosses. So you use two colors and blend, take one strand of each color and stitch it. So I know I saw a question in one of the Facebook groups. Somebody had asked how you did your blended threads. And the way I do mine when I have to do blends is I just take Flossway bag or floss pack bag, and I cut a length of floss that's the same color or the same length of each color. And I put the numbers of the two colors in the symbol on a little sticker. And then that way I can reuse the bag. I don't write right on the bag, so I can just put a new sticker over the top. And then I just keep the two colors together and use it that way. So when you, I do this with my Teresa Wenslers too for my blended flosses. And I just write the DMC number, so then if you have leftovers, you can stick them back on your main bobbin or however you store them. So that's how I do my blended threads. And then my last whip that I worked on is my King Coda Storyteller. And this is a supersized max version. The design is by Aimee Stewart. It's charted by Heaven and Earth Designs. And I'm currently working on page 4. And because this is on my Mark II floor stand, I will have to insert a small video of where I'm at here. Here is my latest progress on King Coda Storyteller. This rotation, when I worked on it, I completed the next 2 horizontal rows on page number 4. I really like how the tapestry, it's hard to see from a distance, but I really like the different shading. You can kind of see it. I stitched this on 28 count white Lugana 1/1. The little tiny spots of fabric show through on the dark colors, kind of irritates me, but you're supposed to go by the 3-foot rule, which means when this is finished in about 40 years and hanging on my wall, you're not going to see those little specks from 3 feet away because you're not going to be looking at it as close as we are right now. I have two more rotations on this piece, so I'll have a page finish. So the next 2 rows should go pretty quickly. The next 2 that I do, about half of it is the tapestry, and then it starts getting into the black, and then the last 2 rows on the page are almost solid black stitches with a few of the random darker bits like over here, so it looks like the little fringe hanging down. Back to your regular video. Okay, that is all of the whips that I've worked on since my last video. So the only thing I have left is just a little bit of haul. So we'll go ahead and go through that quick. The first thing I got in, which is super exciting, was, I know in my last video I had mentioned that I had ordered some fabric from Teresa Vignette Kitten Stitcher that I was hoping would work for my Winter Rose Manor. Oops, hit myself in the face. Winter Rose Manor by Brenda Gervais with Thy Needle and Thread, because I wanted, this was one of the projects I wanted to start for Stitch Mania. And I had ordered a 36 count light hazelnut, and it's from Xtude Design. And she also had a 40 count light hazelnut as well, because this has 2 projects. This one calls for a 40 count, and the big sampler calls for 36. So I wanted something in the same color. The 40 is just a little bit lighter, but I really love this color a lot better than the other one that I had bought to try. What was it called? It was a Picture This Plus one that I had bought to try, but it had a little bit too much green undertone for me. So I really love this. And here's a look at the floss on it. I think it's going to look really nice. The only thing I'm concerned about is I had just ordered mulberry from, and got this is part of my haul too, because I didn't have the mulberry color. But I was noticing that this mulberry pretty much is identical to the Classic Colorworks Cayenne. I mean, you can't really tell a difference. I don't know if it will stitch different. It looks like maybe the Cayenne has a little bit more brown in it, but they're super, super close. So I'm gonna have to see, maybe stitch a little bit and see if you can even tell a difference. There's a lot more, I guess there's more brown in the Cayenne, so I might have to just see where that's used in comparison to the mulberry. Because if they're side by side, I don't know how different it will look. So we'll have to see about that. But I'm super excited that my fabric that I ordered will work for that. And then my basket here. Teresa also sent me, I'll flash it really quickly. She sent me a free little sampler pattern. It looks like that. It's from Live Simply. It was a free graph, compliments of hands to work. So I think that's super cute. I'll probably stitch that too. My next little bit of haul, I got my Just Cross Stitch magazine issue, June of 2020. And there's really not, I didn't really see anything in here that I felt like I needed to stitch right now, or that I would probably stitch. The only thing in here that I liked was in this, they have a mystery stitch along, so that not all the parts are out yet, but I really like that little block and this little block with the bees. So I'm hoping that maybe, looks like these two might be little bees, and it might be cute just to stitch like a little those little 4 patches, make a little pillow or something with the bees, because I really like those too. That's really about all I've seen in here that I would stitch. I'll kind of show you the back page that lists, kind of shows you all the projects in this, so you can kind of see what's in it. Hit you in the face, sorry. And then I got my order in from 123 Stitch. I got my black fabric and the floss for my June truck from Priscilla and Chelsea that I wanted to start for Stitch Mania, that one. So I'll be able to start that. I also ordered, looks like 2 skeins of coal from Weeks Dye Works, but I can't remember what I ordered them for. So I'm assuming it was a project that I wanted to start, that I still needed that floss for, but I can't remember which one it was. So I guess we'll have to see. The next thing that I got in was the Keepsake 2021 Cross Stitch Calendar from Craftways. And what's nice is they send, this is a big calendar, and then all the designs, they send you, it comes with a booklet that has all the patterns in it. So it's separate from the calendar. And then they also send you a little Keepsake pocket calendar, and I use these every year. I stick them in my wallet, write my work schedule down, appointments. Not a huge planner person, but this is perfect size just to throw in your wallet and carry with you all the time. It has my work schedule if I need to make groomer appointments or doctor appointments, whatever, it's all right here. And easy to carry. So I love that. So I'll go ahead and flip through the calendar for you so you can see what's in there. There's this design. This one is it's called Vintage Winter Couple. It's by Joan Elliott. That's really pretty. I really love this one. I'll probably stitch this one. This one is a Barber Anna design. Wait, it's charted by Barber Anna, but the actual artist is Janet Stever. And it's called Celebrate the Season. That little polar bear is adorable. So I love that one. I'll probably stitch that. The next design is called, oops, skipped one. Floral Postcards. And this one is, the artist is Barbara Bear, and it was charted by Elizabeth Spurlock. And then the next one is Kitchen Word Jumble by Michelle Lutzen. And then Springtime Coronation by Doreen Jones. Those are really cute. I love that little bunny. The little duck's face cracks me up too. And the little goat. They're all cute. Then the next was the cover design. It's a Barbara Sestock called Cozy Cottage. The next one is called Urban Lines by Avery Tillman, and Lee Fisher was the one that charted this. Then this one's called Sea Fun, and it is by Leslie Tier. And then Succulent Garden, which is by Susan Bates. And then Apple Sampler by Lois Winston. And then this is called Eek by Bothy Threads. I really like this one too. I love this one. It's a Barber Anna design, and it's called Folk Art Animals. I'll probably stitch these. I'd like to stitch these. A little fox and a deer. Really cute. And then the last one is Fireside Santa, and this one is designed by Ron Smith. I really like this one too. I think if I stitch this one though, I think some of the little pieces might need some back stitch just to make them pop a little bit more. Like the doll, maybe his gloves, the stockings. You could probably pick and choose which ones, like the little ball, the little cat maybe a little bit. Maybe you could pick and choose where you want your back stitch to help the elements pop a little bit. So those are the designs in the 2021 Keepsake calendar. So 3 or 4 in there that I'd like to stitch, so that's cool. And then I got my last fabrics of the month from Hand Dyed Fabrics by Stephanie. This one is called Breaking Dawn. And I get 32 count Belfast. It's pretty accurate. It's peaches, like a peachy orange, yellow, and pinks. Looks like a sunset or a sunrise if it's breaking dawn, right? That's pretty. And then this one is called Ice Crystals, and this is a really pretty purple. It shows up a little blue there. I'm trying to see if I can get it to show you the purple. It's more of a lavender purple. It's looking more blue, but it has some blue undertone, which is what's getting picked up, but it's actually a light purple. Kind of a little better there. So that's pretty. A couple more things. I want a giveaway from Wendy's Stitches of a punch needle pattern. I have never tried punch needle, but it's on my list that I want to try. And the pattern that I won from her is Tilly from Teresa Kogut. I think this is so cute. So maybe a good starter one to try. It's not super big. doesn't use a whole lot of colors. Well, uses more colors than I thought, but maybe for my second project. Maybe I need a little bit smaller to start, but I thought it was cute. So thank you to Stephanie with Lindy Stitches for that. And then I got my next Bouville series chart. This is chart number 7 from Crazy Annie's, and the designer is Sugar Stitches, but it's a year-long Halloween ornament club. So that's what this one looks like. It's called Peekaboo, and I always get the matching Zappy Dot, so it's just the design on a little needle minder. That's number 7. And then my very last thing I'll show you is my husband, we have a 3D printer for his business. So people that were making masks, a lady that I work with is making masks for hospitals and the CNAs and things at long-term facilities that need masks, the cloth masks. And she had asked him if he could make, they help make the binding. So he 3D printed a whole entire set. So this is the bag of them, but they're all different sizes. So you stick your fabric strips in there and feed it through, and it folds it. So as it comes out this end, you just pull it along. It folds your fabric for you, and then you have your iron, and you can seam. What's the word I'm looking for? Iron it so it stays down, and it makes your seam binding. Be good for quilts and stuff. So he made me a set. Like I said, it has all different sizes, so that'll be very helpful when I get to that part on my quilt to try to do the binding, because I've never made it before. So it's my first quilt, but yeah, all different kinds of sizes. So that's really cool. So that is all I have for you today. So I am going to try to get this edited really quickly and then uploaded, and then I hope to start my very first new start for Stitch Mania. Like I talked about in my Stitch Mania plans video, the days that I have to work. So I work tonight and tomorrow night. So I'm going to start on the days that I have to work. I'm going to do a new start, and my days off, I'm going to work on one of my previous whips from previous manias. So since you're here, I'll go ahead and show you the project that I plan on starting today after this video. And this is one that I had planned to start last year for Stitch Mania and then didn't get it started, but I'm going to start this one, the Little House Needleworks Milady's Strawberries. And I have it all set up on my Q-Snap, ready to get started as soon as this video's uploaded. So I hope if you all are participating in Stitch Mania, I hope that you have fun with it and just enjoy yourself and enjoy your stitching. And the biggest part is just have fun and celebrate the craft that we all love. So that's all I have for you today. So I am hoping, I thought I would try, and I don't know how this will work out, so I can't make any promises, but for my Stitch Mania, I thought I would try maybe a vlog and kind of do it day by day, and then put them together maybe at the end of the week or end of 2 weeks, depending on how many clips I have or how many projects I get through. I thought that might be kind of fun and to try it that way. So we'll see how it goes. And like I said, I hope if you're participating in Mania, you have fun. And if you're not participating in Mania, that you just keep stitching and enjoy yourself. So until next time, happy stitching, y'all.